Before Jim and I went to the March meeting, everyone should have a copy of a letter that Jim wrote saying, coming to the meeting, we gave you a withdrawal notice on this date. Now we want to talk to you about entering an intergovernmental agreement.
I'm not making my point clear. Okay. I know we met that obligation, and I know that we're not obligated to withdraw upon that 365 days. That's not what I'm
Okay, okay.
What I'm going after is, do they have the right, if within our contractual agreement, to say, no, you cannot withdraw?
No, the intergovernmental agreement says, states that that agencies may withdraw or based on the procedures in the bylaws.
We can withdraw, but they want us to leave the equity there. Is that what they're saying?
Well, they want to keep the 911 money.
Well, they also want to keep the 911 calls because basically the Round Lake Fire District is the one saying that it would be serious jeopardy to have fire and ambulance calls go to Glenview first and be transferred back.
In order to withdraw, we would have to have calls routed somewhere else.
I understand.
In order to do that, we still need the Illinois Commerce Commission to approve whatever change it is that we make. And so, in order to get to that point, we have to have something that the Illinois Commerce Commission would be convinced is going to be a positive thing.
Okay. Now, try one more time. And I understand what you're saying. Can Jets tell us no? If we can bring our data, supports our side.
The bylaws say specifically that we may withdraw and give us a procedure to do that. So it doesn't say the board has to approve a withdrawal.
So her last paragraph there is
it's open for debate. It's open for interpretation.
Okay.
Yes, that is a safe comment. Room for much interpretation the next week.
Did they ever, who does CENTCOM now calls for now? Lake Barrington or Barrington?
Barrington.
They did get in?
Well, Barrington is a customer. They're not a Met board.
Barrington contracts with CENTCOM to have their 911 calls answered and dispatched by CENTCOM. They're not a member of, and they're not part of that intergovernmental agreement when the organization was established. Similar, and Grays Lake is kind of in a similar situation to that with Glenview. They contract with Glenview. They're not members of a joint emergency telephone system board with Glenview. They simply contract with Glenview to provide those services.
And you know what's interesting is I've been studying now and looking at more and more types of boards or how communities get 911 services. And the reason why certain communities, such as Grays Lake, have decided to contract others and not join a board such as the Jets board, unfortunately, it becomes a political mess, quite frankly. You get so locked in and politics get in the way, instead of being a customer where you can say, you know what, you're not doing me right, you know, you're not giving me service, you know, or a different type of service.
this letter, specifically the last paragraph, angers me because it's, well, I'm just
because
well, I just want to throw one other comment out to you. When I did not get an answer after several days, I told Jim, I said, we're going to get a letter. I would bet money. Now, I thought that they would have the village, not the village, the Jets attorney, John Kelly, write the letter. What's interesting is he did not write the letter. I find that actually very interesting. Think about that.
Is Gene the chair of the board?
Gene is the current chair of the board, yes. Now, I also want you to note all the legal terms in there, or not even legal terms, I guess I would say.
For interpretation.
Well, there's a lot of technology talk, and I'm sorry, don't care how long you've been mayor, you don't know what this stuff means to word it this way. So, where did that come from? And it did come from the attorney.
Well, I know, I only went to that board a couple of times for kid, but how, if they don't have the documents that tell us what we need to know, how did they figure out what to charge Barrington or whatever? That was a big discussion that was going on 2 or 3 years ago when I went to the meeting, that they couldn't figure out how the hell they were going to charge somebody because they didn't know what was going on then. And now they're telling us now that they still can't find it, and that was at least 3 years ago when I went. So for a long time they haven't been doing their job. This isn't something new.
I wonder if Ted remembers what I said when Ted was kind enough to take me to a CENTCOM meeting when I was mayor-elect. And do you remember what I said when I got offered the floor, Ted?
No, refresh me.
I said, with all due respect, I've been gone from this board 8 years, and you're talking about the exact same thing as you are when I left. How do we charge everyone? How do we figure it out? And it wasn't because they tried something that didn't work. They hadn't yet tried anything new yet. So.
I remember.
So I think that's as far as we're going to go with this tonight. I know it's frustrating. It is very frustrating. But at least now we know the direction we have to go. We will see what Grays Lake and Glenview has to offer. Perhaps we'll even have Brett Reynolds back from Glenview or somebody from Grays Lake here, and we can decide how we want to proceed.
The information that you're asking Glenview for, do they supply that information to Grays Lake?
No,
No, not on a regular basis, no, not in the detail we're looking for, because we're trying to make a case to prove otherwise, or to prove a case to ICC that the arguments that are being raised don't exist. It's not, you know, it's not an issue. So if there's no further comments or questions at this time.
So moved.
Now, wait a minute.
Second.
Motion for adjournment. We have a second. All in favor? Aye.
I've been